thank all of you for joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. You know something, women? If you go back to Edward Bernays in the 20s, they said openly and published they would break up the family. They would advertise to women that it was radical, risque, avant-garde to be sexually promiscuous, to not have a husband, to abort your baby in a back alley, to take birth control. Rockefeller Foundation funded all of that through Margaret Sanger. And now look what feminism's done. It's turned women into purely sexual objects. Men aren't men anymore. They're little jellyfish on average. Arrested development. Women are completely unhappy. Most of the time they've been soft-killed, been sterilized, or had their fertility reduced. By the time they figure out this whole mainline feminist deal was a bad deal, by the time they're 35, 40, can't have babies. And you're all isolated by yourself. A family is a man and a woman who are on a team, taking care of their children. It's fulfilling. It's what humans are designed to do. It's what our entire civilization is built around. And the system is atomizing that. It's disintegrating it. It's destroying it. By design. You like the results? Oh, there are bad men out there. There are bad women. But women need a good, strong man who's got his head screwed on straight to protect them. And women need to be trained as they were to defend themselves as well. You think the government's your friend, women? I'll assure you it's not. All right, I want to start getting into the news. I've got the financial stack here. U.S. is practically owned by China, CNBC. China's rich make generous gifts at Gates and Buffett dinner for eugenics. Reuters. Oh, yeah, when the elite meet, that's what it's about. It's all about what they put in your food and water and your shots. Bloomberg, dollar set for biggest monthly loss since 2008 versus euro on U.S. economy. Bloomberg. Is the government about to make mortgage market even worse? CNBC. That's what they want to do. How else do the banks consolidate? Gold could hit 2,000 amid inflation. BlackRock executive says, CNBC. Plundering the middle class, 35% of American households live on $35,000 or less each year. Bailouts a success for the wealthiest 5% of Americans, and that's it. Ireland presses bank rescue, deficit at 32% of GDP. They're next to go down, as Chapman has predicted. The proof is in the numbers. America's getting poorer. We're going to be going over all this. Thursday look ahead, stocks set to close out best quarter in a year and best September in 70 years. You know why? Because those stocks are having the bailout money dumped into them by big institutions, and a devalued dollar and other global currencies are purchasing those stocks. So those stocks really aren't up. It's like gold's not really up. Currencies are down, part of this G20 concerted, coordinated devaluation, to use their term. We've got this incredible article by Paul Joseph Watson where they have giant police symposiums admitting everything you're doing is being tracked and traced by the government, and that if your emails, phone calls, text messages show any criticism or resentment towards the government, you're put on a list and surveilled. And so what are you supposed to do now? Just go, oh, well, I better not criticize the government, even though that's the bedrock of what this country was founded on and what it's all about. This government is alien. This government is a criminal corporate overlay to rob us. Do you understand? Trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions are missing from the Pentagon, and every year Congress asks where it is, and the Pentagon literally laughs at them and says, we won't tell you, just like the Federal Reserve. It's a joke. You know, I see all these good old boys and all these young people with this primitive form of patriotism, an American flag. They go join the military. They're shot up with experimental vaccines. They breathe depleted uranium. Those that are immoral are recruited into black ops to commit every crime you can imagine and run organized crime worldwide. The rest are turned into Dudley Do-Rights to go out and write tickets as police officers, to then fund it into the mega bank derivative scam. This is full-spectrum global domination. It's not an army with tanks that rolls over the hill. It's an enemy that comes and whispers in your ear. And people better get that through their head. I had all these military people calling about how DU's killing them, how they're sterilized, how they're dying, how they got cancer. And they kept saying, yeah, the government didn't care about us. No, no, no. They do care about you. They care about hurting you. They want to hurt you. They do care. It's not that they don't care and just let all this happen. You know, I had that Texas Monthly guy go, well, it is true. I've seen all the major reports that these major GMO crops all cause major organ damage and failure and cancer and sterilization. But it's just that the big agra doesn't care. Big GMO doesn't care. They're designing them to do that. I have their own reports that we link to daily at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. What is it you don't get about that, okay? What is it you don't get about the fact that they've got federal laws for x-ray machines at a dental office or at a medical center, and they've got systems many times more powerful, and they've got cops and feds and private contractors running them with no shielding? Does that tell you the change? They have been incrementally testing soft kill weapons, just designing everything to kill us. Cell phones, GMO, aspartame, MSG, melamine, mercury, lead. They have been doing all this, testing what kills you slowly so you don't know what kills you 10 years down the road. Look, folks, this is just like the hearings in the 1950s with J. Edgar Hoover. In fact, we could pull this up on YouTube. I know I've seen the video. J. Edgar Hoover. Try to search the term J. Edgar Hoover said mafia didn't exist. J. Edgar Hoover testimony, mafia doesn't exist. I know there's audio of it in Congress. And I know I've seen the video. And they said, is there mafia? Is there organized crime? And he got up and he said, no, it doesn't exist. It's a conspiracy theory. Ladies and gentlemen, 55, 56 years ago, the American people were being fed on by different mafias, Italian, Jewish, WASP, Irish, German, all over the place, even in Texas, everywhere. And the police wouldn't say it existed because they were all on the take for the whorehouses and the drug houses and the gambling houses, all of it. And it's the same thing. For decades, the world government's been out in the open, publishing thousands of reports every year to itself. They think you're so stupid, they issue these publicly and then have their pundits tell you there's no world government and no mega central banks that run it. Same deal. Just like they told you in the early 1950s that the mafia didn't exist on TV, news, and radio and print. Shut up, it doesn't exist. There is no such thing. Okay. I mean, is there organized crime? Do we know it now? Just like I'm telling you they're putting cancer viruses in your vaccines. It's 100% on record everywhere. It's 100% they're doing it on purpose. It's 100% Bayer shipped out for a decade, millions of ampules of factor 8, knowing everyone that took it would get multiple forms of hepatitis and HIV. They knew it, they did it. MSNBC's even reported on that. You understand? You're going to feel very foolish later, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, there are FEMA camps. It's the Emergency Centers Act, the John Warner Defense Authorization Act. It's in the Houston Chronicle about the FEMA camps, the government funding of them. The Rex 84, Miami Herald. I have video of the congressional hearings. It's in my film, Police State to the Takeover. But just like J. Edgar Hoover, Glenn Beck gets up there and tells you there's no such thing as FEMA camps, just like J. Edgar Hoover told you there's no such thing as La Cosa Nostra. Of course there's such a thing as La Cosa Nostra. There's a global La Cosa Nostra. Our thing. It's their thing on us, and I'm sick of it. You know, I've studied different mafias, and if you go back 100 years ago, if any mafia got involved in whorehouses with underage kids, the mafia would kill whoever did it. Not now, they run it. See how even the mafia has degenerated. By the way, the Italian mob, by the 50s was having wars with the Skull&Bones mob, the Jewish mob, and others, and they teamed up against them. That's why when they had to admit there was a mafia in the 50s, okay, there is a mafia. It's Italians. It's Italians. That's the only mafia. Oh, it's Italians. That's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. I know some of the best families, biggest, wealthiest families in Austin, Texas. Went to high school with some of them.